February 2013. A young woman entered one of America's most infamous hotels. Days later, she vanished without a trace. Then a disturbing elevator video surfaced online, and the internet became obsessed with one terrifying question. What was Elisa Lam running from? February 2013. Inside a hotel elevator in downtown Los Angeles, a young woman begins behaving strangely in front of a security camera. At first glance, the footage seems ordinary. A guest entering an elevator late at night. Nothing unusual. But within seconds, something changes. The woman presses several buttons repeatedly, then suddenly steps backward into the corner of the elevator. She peeks outside nervously, waits, steps out, looks left, looks right, then quickly jumps back inside again, almost as if she's hiding from someone standing just outside the doors. But there is one disturbing detail people noticed immediately. Nobody else appears in the footage. No shadow, no footsteps, no figure waiting outside the elevator. Yet the fear on her face felt real enough to terrify millions of people across the internet. Who was she hiding from? Why was she acting this way? And why did the elevator doors remain open for such a strange amount of time? For days, people replayed the footage over and over again, slowing it down frame by frame, searching for clues hidden inside the grainy security recording, because what nobody knew at the time was that the woman in the footage had already vanished. Her name was Elisa Lam, and weeks later, the horrifying discovery of where she was found would transform her case into one of the internet's most disturbing mysteries. A mystery that people still debate more than a decade later, because even after investigators gave their official explanation, many questions never truly disappeared. Elisa Lam was 21 years old. Born in Canada, she lived with her family in Vancouver and studied at university. Friends described her as intelligent, creative, and deeply emotional. She loved books, music, writing, and like many young people her age, she often expressed herself online. Through blogs and social media posts, Elisa shared thoughts about life, emotions, anxiety, and personal struggles. She was introspective, thoughtful, sometimes optimistic, sometimes overwhelmed, but above all, she seemed like someone trying to understand herself while searching for meaning in the world around her. In early 2013, Elisa decided to travel alone across California. To many people, solo travel represents freedom, adventure, escape, a chance to discover who you are away from home. Elisa documented parts of her journey online, posting photos, sharing experiences, continuing what appeared to be a normal trip. Eventually, she arrived in Los Angeles, a city filled with noise, lights, movement, and endless strangers. And there in downtown Los Angeles, she checked into a hotel that already carried decades of darkness behind its walls. The Cecil Hotel, a building whose history would later become inseparable from Elisa's story. By the time Elisa Lam arrived at the Cecil Hotel, the building had already developed a deeply disturbing reputation. Opened in the 1920s, the hotel was originally designed to attract wealthy travelers. During the booming years of Los Angeles, back then the city represented glamour, opportunity, Hollywood dreams. But as years passed, the area surrounding the hotel slowly changed. Crime increased, poverty spread through downtown Los Angeles, violence became more common, and the Cecil Hotel gradually transformed into something darker. Over the decades, countless disturbing incidents became connected to the building. Suicides, overdoses, unexplained deaths. Some guests reportedly jumped from the hotel's upper floors. Others died alone inside rooms that would later be rented out again to new visitors. Rumors spread through the years, turning the hotel into something almost mythical online. But perhaps the most disturbing detail involved the people who stayed there. One of America's most infamous serial killers, Richard Ramirez, reportedly lived inside the hotel during parts of his killing spree in the 1980s. Another murderer, Jack Unterweger, was also connected to the building years later. The more people learned about the Cecil Hotel, the more it began to feel less like a hotel, and more like a place where darkness simply gathered over time. Long hallways, flickering lights, old elevators, endless rooms filled with strangers. Guests often described the atmosphere as unsettling. Some claimed they heard screams at night. Others said the building gave them a constant feeling of unease. Whether those stories were true or exaggerated hardly mattered anymore. By 2013, the Cecil Hotel already carried an almost haunted reputation online, but none of its stories would become as famous or as disturbing as the mystery of Elisa Lam. At first, Elisa's stay at the hotel appeared normal. She remained active online. She contacted family members. She continued exploring the city. Nothing seemed obviously wrong. Then suddenly, communication stopped. Calls stopped. Messages stopped. Her family became worried almost immediately. Elisa had maintained regular contact during her trip, so her sudden silence felt alarming. Days passed with no response. Eventually, her parents contacted authorities. Police began investigating. Officers searched parts of the hotel. Staff members were questioned. Hallways were checked. Rooms were examined. Yet somehow, there was no sign of Elisa Lam anywhere inside the massive building. It was almost as if she had simply disappeared. No clear evidence, no confirmed sightings, no explanation. Then investigators discovered something unusual: surveillance footage from one of the hotel elevators. What appeared in that video would soon disturb millions of people around the world. The elevator footage begins quietly. Elisa enters alone. At first, her behavior seems slightly nervous, but not terrifying. Then suddenly, everything becomes strange. She presses multiple elevator buttons rapidly. The doors refuse to close. Elisa leans forward and looks outside cautiously, then quickly steps backward again. Her movements become unpredictable, jerky, uneasy, almost panicked. At one point, she presses herself against the side wall of the elevator, as though trying not to be seen. Then she walks outside once more. The hallway beyond the elevator appears completely empty. Yet Elisa continues reacting as if somebody is there, watching her, following her, waiting for her. Then come the hand movements. Strange gestures, unusual motions, movements many viewers later described as deeply unsettling. Some believed she was speaking to someone. Others believed she was frightened. Some even wondered whether she was trying to escape something. But perhaps the most disturbing part of the footage was how real her fear appeared. Human fear is difficult to fake, and for many people watching the footage online, Elisa did not look like someone pretending. She looked genuinely terrified. Eventually, she walks away from the elevator entirely. The camera never records her again. After police released the footage publicly, the internet exploded. Millions watched it. Discussion forums filled with theories. YouTube videos appeared everywhere. People slowed the footage down frame by frame, searching for hidden details. Was there someone outside the elevator the camera couldn't see? Was Elisa experiencing paranoia? Was she hiding from an attacker? Or had something happened inside the Cecil Hotel that nobody could explain? The deeper people looked into the footage, the stranger the mystery became. Weeks after Elisa disappeared, guests inside the Cecil Hotel began making complaints. Some said the water pressure felt weak. Others claimed the water tasted unusual. A few described the water as dark or strangely discolored. Staff members eventually decided to inspect the rooftop water tanks. What they discovered shocked everyone. Elisa Lam's body had been found inside one of the tanks. The news horrified the public instantly. But the discovery only created even more disturbing questions. How had Elisa reached the roof? Why was she inside a water tank? Reports claimed access to certain rooftop areas was restricted or locked. The tanks themselves were large and difficult to enter. So how had a young tourist ended up there alone? Some people immediately suspected foul play. Others believed somebody inside the hotel knew more than they admitted. Online theories spread rapidly across the internet, and the elevator footage only fueled those theories further. Because to millions of viewers, Elisa Lam's final recorded moments did not feel normal. They felt terrifying. As the case spread online, theories became more extreme. Some people believed Elisa had been followed through the hotel. Others believed she had discovered something dangerous. Paranormal theories began spreading rapidly across YouTube and internet forums. Some viewers even claimed the Cecil Hotel itself was cursed. The building's dark history only made those theories stronger. Every strange detail seemed to deepen the mystery. Why did the elevator doors behave oddly? Why did Elisa appear frightened? Why was there no clear explanation visible in the footage? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, What was Elisa Lam seeing in those final moments? Eventually, investigators concluded that Elisa's death was accidental. Reports suggested she may have experienced a severe bipolar episode that affected her behavior and judgment. Toxicology reports reportedly found no evidence of major physical assault. Authorities believe she entered the tank herself. But even after the official conclusion, public fascination never disappeared. Because emotionally, many people still struggled to accept what they saw in the elevator footage. Fear does not always disappear when an explanation is given. Sometimes an image becomes permanently disturbing regardless of logic. And Elisa Lam's final recorded moments became one of those images. Question. More than a decade later, the mystery of Elisa Lam continues haunting the internet. New viewers still discover the footage every year, and many react the exact same way. Unease, confusion, fear. Because the video feels strangely personal. There are no monsters, no jump scares, no dramatic music. Just a young woman inside an elevator, seemingly terrified by something nobody else can see. Maybe that is what truly disturbed the world. Not simply the mystery of her death, but the feeling that we were witnessing someone experiencing fear in real time, without understanding why. And perhaps that final unanswered feeling is the reason the story of Elisa Lam still refuses to disappear.